What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Off the Couch Boxing. I am your host, Reckless Rex Ruger, and that, of course, is the Alexis Arguello puppet.
And I'm your other host, Frank Benji's Frankie Hunnits. You heard?
And we're back with another one with old friends of the show, guys that we really, truly love.
Hey.
There he is.
Yeah.
Don't know who's who or who's what, but
Yeah, Chann's he's on the way just now. He had to just change it real quick. Give me a second.
Okay. So wait a minute. Who do we have? We've got Trevor.
Yeah, Trevor right now. Yeah.
And Trevor, man, I'm glad we got you, man, on here, man. And first of all, man, we may have talked about this the first time, man, but Chann is known as Chann the Man. Does Trevor have a nickname? Do we cover this?
Yeah, I think you asked me my last fight. I was like, oh, maybe when I get a couple more fights, the fans, if I hear something nice that the fans say, I'll like, you know.
So still nothing, though.
No, nothing yet.
Nothing has met the criteria yet.
Exactly. I've heard stuff like silly names because I can punch, like, oh, the Terminator or something, but it has to be a name where it can't be flipped, because God forbid I, like, let's say, lose or something and they're like, oh, the Terminator been terminated, or the you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want my name to be flipped against me, you know?
It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, very.
Trevor, never fight me, Thonson.
Or but what if it's something like, Trevor never doesn't show up, you know what I'm saying?
I know. Yeah, it is pretty dicey. Well, first of all, congratulations, man. Like, you just won a fight here a couple weeks ago, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So so now 12-0, 10 knockouts.
Yeah.
Now, when do you feel like you'll be in the picture for a world title fight? Because we are seeing guys get them with less and less fights nowadays.
Yeah, honestly, I'm hoping. I'm 32 now, so I'm really hoping to get a shot next year for sure.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, and the way things are going, and the way that it's good to have a twin who's ranked high. So it kind of, even though I'm not ranked yet, it still propels me, because you have to assume one's as good as the other, you know. So as long as we're building our names off each other too, so it's still good. So I can get he can have a great fight, and then they want to see me and put me in a big fight just cause, you know.
Right.
So
right.
I might not necessarily have to take a long route, because my brother's already on that fast track too. So it's perfect for me, you know.
Do you feel like at 32 years old, do you feel like you're in the prime of your life right now?
Absolutely. It's funny because I was watching one of my amateur fights the other day, and I just looked at the twitchiness, but obviously it's amateur, so they are more twitchy. So when I was looking at my profile, my amateur, I was comparing my difference. But let's say the punch placements, the patience, when to explode, I'm seeing that now more compared to back then, you know. And I think I am in my prime now, because I haven't been in the gym with anybody younger, let's say, who's either like 19 or let's say 27, between that age, and I felt like, damn, have I lost a step? I've never even questioned myself. So not at all, you know. I feel like I'm at the peak, and I'd probably say the peak is gonna last for 3 years, you know?
The only reason I say that, Trevor, is because, you know, we look at guys like Lomachenko and stuff that 35, 36 years old, and start to put them on the back.
But because I think they're only doing that with Lomachenko because he had 400 or 395 amateur fights. That's 2 boxing careers alone, you know.
Right. And I also feel like Lomachenko's kind of quietly retiring here, man. You know what I mean? Like, we're in the process of it.
He is. I feel like because he boxed his whole life, I think I kind of had a childhood, you know what I'm saying? I experienced things before. Now all my focus and devotion and everything is on boxing. There's nothing I really want to experience other than, like, okay, let's say when I retire and buy my house and stuff like that, you know. But other than that, there's nothing. I'm not looking forward to another hobby. You know what I mean? Like, this is it for me, you know. Like, I feel like Lomachenko, boxing was it for him, and not saying he was forced, but it was what his family was doing for him. Also, they're like, everyone, maybe he felt some type of like obligation because his family probably invested so much in him. I know that. He's from Ukraine, so winning a gold medal, they're so prideful. So it's like he has the political people watching him, his family watching, his friends watching. So it's like, does he even have a choice to box or not box? Who knows? You know, realistically.
Right.
You know? And I say that, and it's like, it's like Lomachenko really kind of got the short end of the stick, I feel, because he really, in my eyes, he really only lost to Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah.
And
that could have been a draw. To be honest.
Like, he didn't lose to Haney, and he didn't lose to Salido with 50 fucking nut shots.
Yeah. Hey, Chann.
How's it going?
Good. Chann, there he is, the number 3 in the WBA. And let me just say, man, that we had Keyshawn Davis on here, and he was absolutely appalled that you could be ranked anywhere higher than him, man. He was, yeah.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess I got to, what's it called? I have two things to say about that. I guess I got to watch the interview to fully comment on that.
Yeah.
And I feel like in the last like 5 years, 6 years of boxing, a lot of weird rankings and title givings have been given in ways where people weren't fighting for those positions. The number one guy doesn't always fight for the world title, and a lot of things happens. If he was appalled, then he needs to find a better management team or a promoter that can do their job right for a guy.
I think you're right where you belong. I think you're. I think you have that spot very deservedly so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because I'm the young man and I don't give a fuck, I'll say that another guy that was shitting on you was Floyd Schofield, and fuck him.
Oh shit! I didn't even see are these interviews out?
No, Floyd on, man, but I think we're just a little salty, man, because Floyd's team just doesn't think that we're a high level enough podcast, to bestow us with an interview. The great Schofield team.
Well, even Schofield himself, like, the kid's decent. Oh, he's aggressive. He's always in tremendous shape. But to be honest, he beat I think the last guy he beat was in like a minute and a half or something. That dude
so he got like a headbutt or something.
No, that was the second fight before that. His last fight, he beat the guy like in one round. Like he just went and rushed him. And
he knocked the guy down like 4 times in like 30 seconds.
The dude was trash. So it's like it's a lot of fighters. Like I think Tank said it in one interview. He's like, "Oh, everybody's bashing me because they say I'm not fighting anybody." But other than realistically Teofimo and maybe now you could argue Devin Haney, who fought anybody?
Yeah. Right.
Who
But
that's what I'm saying. Who has 3-4 names on this?
That's what I'm saying.
When Shakur fought Dos Santos, was that worthy of making him champion?
Right.
Hell,
good point. Yeah.
Good point. All these fighters, the way the boxing game goes is, the truth is, obviously you have to fight names, right? But everybody is trying to get to that position like how Floyd was. Like look at Canelo. He's trying to make money now. Terrence Crawford said, "I'm not trying to fight Boots because I'm trying to build my legacy and make money fights." So everybody wants to get into the position where they can call the shots and make the most money. That's the truth. If you have to call your way up, okay, some guys have to do it. But if you could maneuver properly, like boxing has been done for like the last hundreds of years, every fighter doesn't be moved properly. So for anybody to be like, "Oh, this guy doesn't deserve," okay, how about you go fight the top 15 guys on your resume? You'll be undisputed. You'll be pound for pound if you do that, for sure.
There'd be no such thing as an undefeated record if everyone had to fight always the top 5, the top 15 consistently, consecutively. Regardless, or always the number one guy no matter what. I just
saw Paulie Malignaggi do like a YouTube short, and he said that if the 1 and the 2 were always fighting each other, and then the next person that was coming in after the 2 got beat, and there was always a 1 and a 2 all the time, always fighting each other, that would be amazing.
The sport would be so much,
and no one would be undefeated.
It's a great sport. And there would be no undefeated, but the sport would be doing justice, and it'd be a great sport. Like our friend Lucas Body, who knocked out Ashton. Shout out to him, and to all Canadian fighters. But he knocked out Ashton cold, and for people sometimes forget why the Rocky movies and people love boxing so much. It's for reasons like that. It's because the guy who's the underdog, who didn't have the weight paid for him, comes out and shocks the world and wins. You know what I mean? So those are the things that happen. So for Keyshawn to say anything, or it's like let something happen about it. At the end of the day, it's like a lot of talking is always going to be done outside of the ring, but the truth is, it's what's happening inside the ring. That's what.
Well, we were talking about the rankings, and Keyshawn, I had to look up on my phone because Keyshawn is ranked in some of the alphabet organizations, and he's ranked. The Ring Magazine has him ranked, but he wasn't ranked in a couple of them, and the WBA was one of them. So he asked us in the interview, who the hell is ranked at the top of the WBA if I'm not in there? And of course, as a fighter, he's not happy to hear, Chann Thonson. He's not happy to hear Floyd Schofield, who's a big rival of his. He's not happy that those guys are like ahead of him.
So how come when Eddie Hearn, right? When Eddie Hearn was speaking to him about the consecutive losses that he's taking to Anna Cruz in the amateurs, that they're like a shadow to him in his career because there are 5 of them, and it happened in the Olympics when Eddie Hearn was talking to him about fighting Andy Cruz, and people provoke him about that fight. Andy Cruz is ranked in the WBA. So why not go avenge yourself as a show that you think you're the best, go show it and go take a spot then, and then work your weapon. And we could talk because Andy Cruz is under than me. So it's like if you're not in WBA right now, go. Why are you even worried about any of that? Talk to your team or go take care of that.
Great point.
I actually love that you said that because me and my dad like to do now is just like throw names out there of guys in your weight division and get your assessment of who's doing what. And that was one that we kind of didn't bring up, but now
he's emotional about it. He's emotional about it. That's why every time you mention Andy Cruz, it's always like, we're moving forward, we're looking at the future. But then you want to complain about guys you never heard of. How about go beat the guy? If you really that, go beat him then. Go take a spot and then talk. Stop talking. Stop
I realize sometimes boxing is making outrageous statements because he also said, that Raymond Murataya was a C fighter, and I'm not so sure that I believe Raymond Murataya is a C level fighter. I mean,
Devin Haney said Ryan Garcia was a C level fighter.
Yeah, I know.
If we stick it, so it's like this is the thing about boxing too, that it's like it sucks in a way, but it's a great thing, but it sucks at the same time too. Whose opinion is governing what? Because when we speak about NBA, these certain sports, like okay, if we're talking about only champions that we're gonna measure the championships, what did they do, right? Because people want to say Floyd beat the most champions, but then there's fighters back in the day who went 7-0, 8-0. So it's like if Floyd fought everyone, there's always going to be someone's opinion arguing against what it is that you're doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? If he's the champion,
nothing against Floyd Mayweather at all, because I respect him almost in the ring, but he didn't at the time he didn't fight Kell Brook, Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, all these young guys who were waiting to call him out. He didn't fight them. He picked and choose because he put himself in that position. But the whole grading system in terms of like, he's a C-level fighter. Your opinion doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I feel like the Floyd era is finished. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, just fight. You know what I'm saying? Who cares? Because stop saying that, because if that's the case,
but then why? Then if he's saying that it doesn't matter about my position. If you are a A-level fighter, then why aren't you in these A-level competitions only? Why is your promoter still putting you against fights when they believe wholeheartedly that you could witness no problem? You're not. It's not like his resume is cleaning up the division and he doesn't care who's in front of him and he's fighting whoever he's supposed to, and only fighters that he feels. Let him put out a statement and saying he's not fighting until he fights the next top 5 fighters that he feels like he wants to fight. If that's the case, like I said, look at Lucas Body knocking out Ashton. Schofield's father said Lucas was a C-level fighter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now what happened?
Knocked him out.
I love C-level fighters. Don't make if whatever level they consider Ashton to be at, right? Because first it's like, Ashton is an A-level fighter, but then Ashton made a rookie mistake by getting too comfortable. So how are we? Where are we assessing great fighters based on? Everyone takes the way up to the top, and then the truth about boxing, to get to the top isn't as difficult as it is to maintain there.
Staying there.
There's no C-level fighters or B-level fighters. Any fighter that puts in, ultimately, in my opinion, the work to be where they are, regardless of how you got there, deserves to be there.
Absolutely.
Now we're gonna just see if you deserve to stay there. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. What I think about it.
I love that you bring up Floyd and what he did and what he didn't do, and I love that you bring up Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia too, because I'm curious to ask you guys about Floyd ducked Antonio Margarito big time, retired not to fight him. And I know Antonio Margarito is known as a cheater, and kind of like right now where we're at, Ryan Garcia is quote unquote a cheater. But I know like 1/1000th of a gram of whatever. Yeah. So it stack up. But I'm just curious what your opinion is on all that, just because everyone's kind of like making it like, Devin Haney deserved to get that loss removed, and I don't really think he did.
Yeah, I don't feel like
the truth is, I don't think the loss should have been removed, and it's to say like even if it was 1/8 of a billion, because it's like who knows, he could like when Canelo was found with the steroids, did they remove the guy's loss? I don't think they did. So Devin Haney made a big fuss about it, and I feel like him making a big fuss about it actually hurt his career. He should have just let it be and say, hey, he cheated, but he got the win and whatever, and move on. The fact that you got the removed, you have a bunch of. I saw that night, the same night, he went out and they're like, still undefeated, still undefeated. I don't care who you are. If you're a fighter and you got your ass whooped inside, you feel crushed. You know what I'm saying? So it's like too many yes men around him.
If you can
that Austrian man certainly wasn't keeping your face there, getting hit with all those left hooks.
Exactly. He didn't look any more spectacular than he did in the Tank fight. And I always try to make this analogy when it comes to boxing, because people want to talk about, like, you know, high level fighters, fighters who might do anything. If you go out onto the street, right? And because this is very possible, that it's possible you can ever one day get into an altercation in the fight. If someone beats you up for whatever reasons, let's say you found out like a week later, 2 weeks, it's like, yo, that guy who beat you up, fucked you up, was on steroids. It's like, does that change the fact that you got fucked up?
Right.
No. At the end of the day, it doesn't.
Right?
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's like, I feel like Ryan definitely deserved the win, and I feel like the extent that Haney was going through, and the especially because, like I said, the C-level fighter. I was having the conversation today when a fighter is. I mean, people like fighters who talk because it sells the fight, and it just sucks because when we do talk, we have to sell the fight. The fans need to just ease up on the fighters when they do lose, so that we could take our loss They could take the loss properly and come back.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the truth is, when you do talk, though, if anything is short of one word, that what you do.
People have questions.
People have questions. You know what I mean? So it's I get, but at the end of the day, it's like, look, fighters get paid so much.
Period.
You know what I mean? We do. I feel like we do deserve the money too, but it's like you're talking about something that is kind of like hectic in all areas: the business, the fighting. Everything is ugly outside of the art of boxing. But I mean, everyone knows this.
Yeah, already.
And there's a million stories of stories about it before, and there's still be a million stories about how crazy boxing is even after all of us. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that whole situation, they should if they wanted to suspend Ryan at most to make Devin Haney feel better, it should have been a 3-month, 4-month suspension. Didn't Keyshawn Davis, and this is the whole thing going back to Keyshawn Davis, this is extremely weird, and I feel like well, sorry, before I touch on that, I just want to say one more thing about Devin Haney is when he fought for who did he fight at 140 again? Regis. When he fought Regis was saying, I heard you paid someone in Mexico to remove a loss. But it's like, it's hard not to believe that now after how much trouble you'd go through doing that on a grand scale.
I agree.
Like, if it was in the dark, of course you would do it. You could never tell us that you wouldn't do it because you did it. Because you did it now on a scale where it's like it was evident that you lost. Maybe in Mexico it was a split decision, so you felt you needed to do it. Okay, but I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's right, but I'm just saying, like, okay, you got away with it because it's under the cover. It's Mexico. Which Mexican wouldn't take a couple extra $1,000 to do that? And then with the whole thing with Keyshawn Davis, when his thing, they said he got suspended for weed.
Yeah.
See, he Ryan Garcia probably should have his person defending him, because who gets where in the history of weed does weed ever become an enhancement?
Never.
I've never ever heard of anyone. It does the reverse.
Yeah.
Never.
It does the exact opposite of what you would want it to do. So,
I can honestly say that I've been high a gazillion times and I've never wanted to fight anybody.
Not while being high. So for him that whole thing makes it look suspicious too. I'm gonna have to call him on that when I see him, because you're saying he got suspended for smoking weed and it was a no contest. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah. And since we're on the topic of guys at 135, who would you like to be? Obviously, Chann, specifically for you. You know, I mean, like, you're in the hunt for that WBA title. It looks like we're going to see at the end of this year Zepeda against Shakur. Zepeda is one of those guys that's in front of you in the WBA rankings, and obviously Tank is the champion. Do you anticipate 2025 being your year to get a world title shot?
100. Well, I'm fighting for the WBA gold this month.
Right.
So that's gonna put me at number one. And the same way how Shakur and all these other fighters, they're gonna feel like it's not deserved. But hey, at the end of the day, no, we never got any calls to fight from any of you guys. Like you said, you guys never heard about me. So that means we definitely never got any calls. And my promoter is doing what he's supposed to be doing. So you guys being with top, this just proves that being with the best promoters doesn't always mean you're going to be in the best situation. You just got to have someone who cares about you and who's going to fight for you. So we're going to get that. We're going to get that WBA world title August 24th. And when we get that, I'll be number one. And I hope that I could fight Tank next year. Obviously, for Tank, is I want to fight him, but in reality, it's like because he's so big and he's been champion for so long, it's like it's always gonna depend on what he wants to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
he's calling the shots.
yeah, for him. But in my mind, I would definitely, even if I could fight Schofield,
Zepeda.
no, well, Zepeda's fighting Shakur, Schofield, or even De Los Santos before the end of the year, just so I can get my notable win and then say, okay, look, because anyone after this fight, I'm number one, and it's like some of the eyes will be on me because, like I said, they don't feel like it's deserved. But then perfect. But then come take it. So now it's like, okay, now whatever you thought that you were, right? Whatever after I beat you, whatever you thought you were, can you just cloak me in that and then like you after I beat you, you advocate for me and say, no, he's the real deal.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
And then after with a win like that, it'll be more reason. I feel like it'll be more realistic for me to get the Tank fight next year after one of those type of wins. So if I could get the Tank fight right after this fight, I mean, like I said, it's highly unlikely, but if I could, then hey, I'm taking it. You know what I'm saying? That would be the best. That would be the greatest victory that I could ever achieve. Right now at 135.
It feels like it's very hard to make a fight like with Tank just in general, though. And he has taken a lot of criticism for not having a lot of names on his resume. And he's already 30 fights into his career.
Exactly. Yeah, so with him, it's like I said, if I can get it, then blessed. But I feel like I would have to, for him to consider it. I feel like I'd have to
someone.
At least beat one of these guys in a nice fashion, which I know I could, So like I said, if someone is upset or something, it's like, think about it. Isn't it? It's so strange. I'm fighting right now for the WBA gold, right? My promoters are doing their job.
Yeah.
But if you look based off of boxing, I'll say, okay, I'm an underdog. But then why haven't I been called out then? Why haven't offers from any Golden Boy Top Rank or any of these things have been brought to our attention?
Yeah.
I've never heard anything about saying, yo, who is that guy? It's easy picking. So let's get him. So you know what I mean? Like,
especially given the fact that you are so high up in the rankings.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like you guys are letting me walk through in a sense.
Yeah.
If you guys feel weight, and come say something about it.
And the ranking system is something that infuriates us, and it seems like there's no rhyme or reason as to how guys get in there, because you will see guys in the top 15 that have 2, 3. I've even seen guys in the top 15 with 4 losses, and it seems to be a puzzling, head-scratching type thing. Like, Trevor, do you ever feel that way too? Like, what more do I got to do? I'm 12-0, 10 knockouts. Why aren't I ranked in some alphabet organization?
Just a little bit still, It's just like, it's kind of like, okay, I guess I have to fight for a minor title then to be ranked, if that's the case. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm looking at. And then it makes you think, like, how do they judge the
at the end of the day, money pulls strings.
Yeah, that's it too. Yeah, and I understand that.
So if money pulls strings, at the end of the day, you could be the best, because this analogy that I'm gonna make is the best point. You could be the best in the world, right? But again, if you don't have someone to promote you, it doesn't matter. You could be fighting all the time because no one's going to give you that fight that you want to have if you don't have the right people working the back scenes for you. Mm-hmm. So that's why I said my team is a great team, because whoever Keyshawn is working with, clearly they don't care to have him ranked in all the sanctioning bodies. They're not doing their job. Whether my team is putting out money or they're making great connections, and doing their job, they're doing their job. Yeah. Because all I'm focused on is getting this WBA world title, right? So like I said, so that could be the only Canadian lightweight in history to ever have won a world title.
Stand up.
Trust me, keep that Lucas Body knockout Canadian fame going. Second, and then eventually to get the official world title against Tank or anyone else. And if I have this title that could get me a fight against any one of the other champions in the other divisions in the other sanctioning bodies, then I'll take that too in the meantime.
Yeah. And speaking of Canadians, man, I thought, man, and we've had him on the show before, and he's going to come on again here next week. Well, I thought Steve Claggett did a wonderful job against Teofimo. Really held his own. And I think Teofimo, I've said this on the show, I think he's going to look back at that fight and he's going to realize that he learned something. He needed a guy like that to push him and fight that kind of fight.
He's a dog. He's a dog. He throws a lot of punches. He does come forward. To truth, I was a little surprised myself because I felt like maybe Teo's power was gonna get to him, but it didn't. He stayed very tight and let his hands go the whole fight. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Obviously, Teofimo had the more accurate and more affecting shots, but the scorecard was a little too wide for me.
Me too.
It was too wide, but because they would never let Teofimo lose to someone like Claggett, like with the record he has, and
right.
Yeah, but there was a moment in the fight where Steve was hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. But what I think too is some people in the comments were like, "Oh, Claggett, who is this guy? Who is this guy?" The truth is, yo, if he earned his way to that spot,
then he earned
he earned his way to that spot.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, okay, if fighters want to talk about the ranking system and this and that, like I said, Keyshawn, your people, go talk to your people, complain to your people about it. Or,
Right.
like I said, I didn't get a call for a fight. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of the two. Talking outside of that doesn't make any sense. And then at the end of the day, the ranking systems I feel like need to be more respected versus because a lot of these people, because they feel like, oh, I'm a name, that outweighs the ranking system.
Yeah.
But then
Right.
boxing, the system is gonna start to get a
Watered
little bit
down.
watered down. Okay, like I said, if money pulls strings and your people behind you put money to put you in the ranking systems or however it works because maybe they have good connections, then fine. You still got in at the end of the day. But it's the ranking systems still need to be respected to a certain degree. Like the number one, the champion gotta fight the number one sometime. Once a year, the number one guy, whoever's in number one, has to have that chance to get his chance. And then if two champions want to fight, they gotta make sure that their number ones are okay with that. Because
Right.
it's like the sport gotta get back on track to where
because a lot of fighters are talking about like, oh, I don't care about belts anymore, I don't care about belts. So it's like, damn, like soon there might be no belts, you know?
Right.
every fighter's
Right.
gonna become a YouTuber and then become a boxer.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
And speaking on Canada for a minute, man, a dude
Yeah.
we had on the show, a bad man. Shout out Cape Breton, Ryan Rozicki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Jesus
doing,
Christ, man! I was on the other end of a screen and I was terrified.
yeah, he's doing his thing too at the
He's an intense guy.
the cruiserweight division, right?
Yeah, he's a cruiserweight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly,
yeah.
the cruiser division to me isn't like, I don't know too much about it, so I don't want to say like anything that might be against it. But I think the pressure that he applies and how he fights, it's just too much for anybody I've seen in that division. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
can see him being a champion. Hell, even collecting multiple belts in that division. You know the way he fights.
Yeah,
You know?
I think we eventually need to see a showdown with Mr. Rozicki and Jai Opatai, and I think we will
Yeah.
eventually, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. But getting back to you guys, though, now we just saw, obviously, like, and I don't know if you guys like this label of being a knockout artist, but the bottom line is you guys have knocked out a good majority of your opponents, though, and we are still seeing awful decisions. We just saw O'Shaquie Foster blatantly robbed in a fight. Does that ever enter you guys' mind, man, as a fighter, or do you just got to go in there and just let the chips fall where they may? I mean, we're still seeing really awful ones. Do you put any pressure on yourself? Obviously, I know everybody wants to get the knockout and win in spectacular fashion.
Yeah.
Is there any kind of mental pressure, like thinking, like, oh my God, if this goes to the cards, like this could really fuck my career?
I've been in a fight once where I knocked a dude out in the 5th round, but it's funny because when I went back to normally because I do knock everyone out, sometimes when I go back to the corner and like lay in the rounds, I feel like, damn, am I winning? Like that's what I think. I always think like, am I winning? So I just maybe want to step on the gas a little more. I know for a fact then it's like, and then I think, damn, like, okay, if I didn't knock him out, I haven't really landed anything significant because I know for once I touch you, it's over. So it's like, okay, then I gotta do something where the judges like that, or see something where it's like, oh shit, like he hurt me, buckled me, wobbled him, something. So
and I know it is a slippery slope. When you're looking for a knockout, sometimes it can be counterproductive and it can get you into trouble too.
Exactly. All the time.
Exactly. And for myself, me, I'm more of a boxer. Even though I knocked guys out, I like to box. So I'm always thinking of like either outclassing and making a clear statement with my boxing ability. And I'm not the type of boxer that's gonna always run away. Like I'm in the fire too. You know what I mean? So the shots and the counter punches that I want to land will be indecisive. So it's like when I go back to the corner, I'm very brutally honest with myself how I'm scoring the fight, even like while I'm going to the corner. If I feel like the fight's even close in my mind, I'm always gonna give it to him, even if I'm home. Even if I'm home, that's how I feel for myself to make sure that it's like I'm keeping like
track of the rounds.
Yeah, like when we're like, for instance, if I'm like, when two people are jogging, when I look back, if I see him, it's like shit, maybe he still could win because he's close. If I let up. But if I don't see him, doesn't mean I'm gonna let up, but it means okay, just keep doing what I'm doing.
Right.
So that's how I feel.
The scariest part about that, boys, is like when I watched the O'Shaquie Foster fight and I watched it,
he was winning.
Not close.
Yeah, no. I didn't even, to be honest, I had my phone out watching it. and I wasn't really paying much attention because every time I did look at the screen, it was one-sided to me. So I was really just focused on the whoever was the scorecard fight after. So I'm like, okay, let me just this guy's clearly winning. And then when they went to the scorecards, I was waiting for the announcer to finish, and they said he won. I was just like, wow, like the guy broke out in tears. It was heartbreaking, you know, like because when you train so hard for something, and I've never experienced a loss, but I would say like let's say not making it to the Olympics kind of felt like that. Like wow, like I've been cheated out of 4 years of hard work. You know, and it's like, however long his camp was, the sacrificing, the missing his kids and missing his family, it's like he got cheated out of that. You know what I mean?
And not for nothing too, but the old school mentality is always too. You have to go in and beat the champion. Shaqi had a belt too. You know, I mean, you know, you can't just lift the WBC belt off of a guy and not and not win any rounds. I mean, that just seemed crazy.
So to me, it was like, what was the agenda for that? It was kind of weird because then the WBC ordered the rematch. Which I don't think they've ever done it in a long time. So, it was like, what was the agenda behind the judges? Like, I really don't know what's going to Top Rank, you know?
Be honest and be fair. Robeson won 1 round at
maybe. Yeah. I mean, Mark Kriegel had it 11-1. I mean, a lot of people had it a complete shutout. You know, I mean, you feel bad for a guy like that because his career, he just got that belt. His career is really just getting going. That's why I asked the question. You know, I mean, it can be derailed at any time. And we've had people on here asking, what's the solution? You know, I mean, personally, we've had a lot of guys come on here and echo our idea, which is kind of like these fights should be at least judged by guys that have competed on some level, even if it was only amateur.
Exactly. I was just about to say that.
You know, the judges.
Maybe younger guys, and I don't even necessarily think you got to be ringside. I can get the same scores when I'm watching from a remote location.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. I was thinking the judges shouldn't even be in the room.
Yeah,
they should be like watching TV up in like the box office or something, and just with no sound, just watching.
Yes,
and then judge because there's no influence, there's no nothing. You know, judge like I heard people say like judges they're human too at the end of the day. So when they hear the crowd go crazy, don't tell me you can't be influenced. Sometimes the ref is on the opposite side and he don't even see what happened.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So if the ref is in the ring can't see what happened, and a judge from one angle is gonna see something, it's like, man, watch it with no TV in the box on somewhere.
But at the same time too, it's like, how do we judge a fight? Because sometimes people they want to see if it's like, okay, like if a guy's pressuring, like okay, see, like for me the fight with this is how I judge the fight with Tyson Fury and Wilder won. When I look at the fight, right, and Wilder being the champion, Fury, it's like, yes, Fury was boxing him, but in the first fight, he wasn't outboxing him and damaging him clean. He was staying on the outside and he was pit-patting him his way through the rounds. So, okay, he's pit-patting his way through the rounds, but Wilder's the only one who did anything significant. So when it was a draw, I wasn't wrong with I didn't get upset with that. Like I said, it's like watching a street fight. I always try to go back to like realistic views. If 2 people are fighting street fight, one guy's getting tagged up, one guy's getting tagged up. He gets touched like 5-6 times, but then I pick him up and I body slam him. Okay, he gets back up. He tags me up. Then I hit him and he drops. Then he gets back up. He tags me up and we break up the fight. It's like, who won? It's like
the guy who dropped 3 times.
But it's like, we don't know. It looked kind of like the guy who was dropping you was winning, but you were getting beat up. We could say that it was a even fight, you know what I mean? So it's like you can't always get, oh well, he poked him more, or he tapped him more, or he touched him more. It's
like how did Shakur beat De Los Santos?
Exactly.
How?
I want to know that. How that was a draw at most.
Yeah,
like,
he didn't throw any punches.
Yeah,
exactly. And then Jermaine Ortiz
loses
boxes
beautiful
the same way, and there was more action. The Jermaine Ortiz versus Teofimo versus that was that fight,
and he lost. But one thing Teofimo did say with
Teofimo.
What thing Teofimo did say, and I'm actually happy he did chose Claggett, because the truth is we signed a contract to fight each other. You know what I'm saying? When Floyd Mayweather was pretty boy Floyd, he was in the middle of the ring, controlling his distance, beating guys up, even though he couldn't get touched. You know, he wasn't jumping 10 miles away, just trying to jab him to death, because it's like we signed a contract to fight. So it's like, damn, I can't win because I can't touch him. It's like, this is crazy. And he's not even touching me, but it's like, he's obviously bigger name, the A side, the this side, whatever. It's like the bigger promotion, he won. It's like, holy shit.
And also, people need to go back to, because people say, oh, Floyd. Yo, go look at Floyd's fights.
Yeah, go rewatch them.
I watch Floyd's fights once a fight, like every morning, you know, because I like his style and I like how he does things. Floyd is here throwing combinations.
Yeah, he's in the pocket.
He's in the pocket. It's just he's right up in there defending himself, or he's just right out there and he's like he's still able to get hit, but he unfairly
got labeled as a runner his whole career, but he really wasn't running ever.
He wasn't.
Never.
They just didn't like the fact that at the end of his career, he knew he would go 12 rounds, so he boxed accordingly. But
I think people forget Pretty Boy was knocking people out.
Everyone else. and all praises to Floyd in the sense where when I look at Floyd Mayweather, Pretty Boy Mayweather from 130 to 135, I think he knocks out everyone in this division as well. To be honest, you know what I mean.
Point though about the judging and where they could be judging remotely. I've recently just been to like my first fights where I was ringside and really was like there and watched it, and you really can't see all the action.
Yeah, you can't. It's hard.
It's not great looking up through the ropes. It's very difficult. It is. Yeah. It's not easy to do. It's not easy, and I don't know if you can get an accurate depiction of what's really going on in there.
Well, I could
because and you're low. You're not even above.
Looking up,
right.
So, and think about it. The judges should be ex-fighters, like with their faculties, because you can't see all the punches. You don't understand the technicality of like someone throwing combination, coming back, blocking. It's like maybe he's not landing, but then again, just because he's not landing, the other guy should be a little bit busy too. It's like because you can't count a guy who throws. If I throw 10 punches and all my 10 punches land, but he throw 80 and only 10 landed, it's like who won? It's like the guy who threw 80 because he's pressing the fight at the end of the day.
Like, when they show like the guys who are judging, I want to see like
who are they?
And James Toney,
or even like Andre Ward. It's like the judges should always be. It shouldn't be like there's I don't know where they go get their judges from, but when they pick fighters from judges, this promoter should call up like, hey, Andre Ward, do you want to judge this fight? Okay, we got one judge. Okay, hey,
Paulie Malignaggi,
Sean Porter. Do you guys want to judge the fight? And whether they say yes or no, or even ex-fighters that were on Boxer that have their faculties. You know what I'm saying? And that don't and maybe sometimes ex-fighters that came close to winning.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I think it's their natural instinct as ex-fighters. Most of them are sitting home scoring it anyway. So I mean, you know.
And they'll be true to the sport.
Yeah,
they'll be true. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
well, speaking of being true here, you know, and we certainly don't want to cause any sibling rivalry, but we're going to throw some questions at the Thonson brothers here. Just hold up the hand. Just hold up the hand if you think that it's you when I ask the question, and we'll get this figured out. The better cook.
It depends.
Yeah.
Oh, they both raised their hands on that one. What about? Go ahead, Benji. Hit him with one.
The better dancer.
Oh, you gave it to him. Huh? How about the better singer? Any of you guys sing?
I don't know. Maybe both boys. He can have it. He can have it.
Okay, when it comes, go ahead.
Better footwork.
Me.
Him definitely.
Better foot. Okay. How about better head movement?
Me.
Him.
Better body puncher.
Depends, because like if he touches your body, he could. Like I said, he in one or two punches, he could probably like crack a rib. But me, I'll place my shots.
Yeah, he plays shots a little better. So
okay.
It depends. If I hit you, it's different.
Okay. In the gym, who's the better, more accomplished jump roper?
Him.
Trust can jump rope. Okay, I see him over there. He's got the jump rope skills. Okay.
Yeah.
Who's the better overall athlete?
Overall athlete, I'll probably take that one.
I'm trying to play football.
Bad basketball.
Okay, here we go.
I've done more
fight at 135. Thonson versus Thonson.
Yeah, it's probably even because we both had ups and downs, you know.
Okay, now you guys both knock out people though, but overall, who's the harder puncher?
By far, he's never.
By far.
I've knocked people out cold. Like all the guys I've knocked out.
He didn't like the by far comment.
Yeah. All the guys I've knocked out were cold, put to sleep. He's stopped guys. Like the ref jumps in the way. You know, like I've put guys out cold. Like they're like we don't know. It's
honestly, because it's weird. I don't focus when I box. I'm a very like methodical thinker in life too. I never focus on knocking someone out. I literally focus on dismantling them, taking away like you'll see when I box in general, like it takes me 1 or 2 rounds to figure them out. And once I figure them out, I just stick to that. And that ends up letting me get the knockout.
Because he has power too, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not like one punch.
I won't be
Power.
like boom, boom, just load up. Like I'll change the game. I can change the scenario in one punch, but because all it does is take one punch to change the scenario. And in my mind, like I said, I feel like I have enough power where, like, I have above the minimum requirement of power you need as a professional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then behind all of my abilities, it's like that's what executes it properly.
Mhm.
You know?
Dig deeper, boys. Who pulls more shorties?
It's close.
We're both in a relationship.
It's close, but we're both in a relationship.
Oh, both. That's good. That's good. See, but again, you know, to quote Mickey from the Rocky movies, women weaken legs, though, don't they?
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
that's
We're always away from
the
my
girls.
My girls back in Canada.
Yeah, there's no girls in camp, so
You take it seriously when you're in camp.
yeah.
And Chann, you're currently in camp right now.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And like even when I was living in Canada and I was staying with my girl, like I knew her for a very long time. Like even when I was boxing amateur, and she's seen we had a few on and off throughout the us knowing each other, but she always understood that when it came to fight time, it's like, listen, like all of our relationship problems or even the good things in the relationship don't matter because she saw that I said this first. Even people in general, like around my life, it was like when it's time to fight, because when it's all said and done,
it's me in there.
It's me in there, exactly. I'm taking the shot. So I'm never gonna I like, for those odd occasions I have ever I might have got into an argument or not, I've always actually blamed myself. Yeah. Because it was just like, I'm the one who's purposely engaging in it, you know what I mean?
Right. Now, when are we gonna get Trevor a proper boxing nickname? Is this what's holding him back?
It might be.
It might be, right?
You might be. I would say Triple T, Trevor Terminator Thompson. You know.
But he said before you came in. He said before you came in the interview that the Terminator was too much pressure to live up to.
Get terminated.
I mean, you know,
like the stars. I feel like the man. It's like the man is like, you can't really flip the man. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah. Okay, he doesn't want to name flip.
Yeah, I want to get name flipped. You know.
I mean, does it matter if it begins with a T? Because I feel like, you know, but like, you know, as far as like the alliteration goes, something with a T would be good.
Yeah, for sure. Because he'd be like Trevor T. Thompson, you know?
Yeah. Well, we're gonna work on this, Benji. I mean, I don't have anything, you know, right now, man. But it's too bad that the rapper T-Pain already took T-Pain, because T-Pain would have been good.
Yeah.
That's it, Trevor T-Pain.
Yeah.
That would have been good. That would have been strong, man. I don't know, man. I mean, you know, I mean, does he have the market cornered on that, or would you get like a cease and desist letter? Probably.
Yeah, exactly.
You probably would. I don't know. I don't know if you can pull. I don't know if you can just take T-Pain.
So for both of you, after you make weight and the fight's over, you get your win. What's the go-to meal you gotta have?
Well, it's funny because when we're together, right, we always like. Sometimes if we're not going out to a restaurant right away, because if I go to a restaurant, my go-to meal, I'm always gonna have a steak and some pasta.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll take my time to eat it. Like I'll probably eat half of it and bring it back to the house and eat half of it. But no matter what, because we're both like juice fanatics, we both like juice. Every day before the weigh-in, the day before the weigh-in,
like 17 bottles.
Yeah, we'll buy like so much juice and like liquids.
17 like bottles of, especially if we fought like in Panama, places that have like fresh juice, with like 17 bottles lined up for juice, ready to just
and
like
ice and all ready to go as soon as we get back.
Yeah. And you know, if either one of you guys have to fight the best round of your life, you got to put together the best 3 minutes of your life. Is there a specific song or artist that would pump you up?
Me, it's like, honestly, it's kind of like cliche, but it's like the Eminem "Lose Yourself" song.
Yeah,
you know,
that's what
because when I listen to that song, and I feel like it's self-explanatory, but honestly, when I listen to it, it's just like, yo, you have one moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's now or never, and it's like that's what sometimes I feel like when it's all said and done, the way I like live my life, like in my life particularly, like I'm the main character of my life, and it's like I chose to do this,
right?
You know, so not the fears, you know, the criticism, everything. It's like I really look at it sometimes like I always laugh and say, wow, like, because you know I'm very big with my faith in Christ, and I always say like the angels I always give when I'm training, let's say I'm training, right? Or if you're watching a movie and you see a movie and the guy, like, you're watching a movie, okay, there's two characters. One character, he's watching a movie, he's always falling, he's quitting, and that's it. Or there's a guy when he's
Pushing
fighting adversity, it's like he pushes through it, overcomes it. It's like, wow. As a viewer, that's amazing to watch. So me, I'm just like, God, you know, you've given me the abilities and the strength to do things. So when I'm training and I feel like I'm tired, I'm like, yo, let me give like the angels and God something nice to watch. So I'll push through what it is that I'm doing, you know?
I love that.
I actually love that you say that though, because no funny shit. Whenever you hear that, dun, 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 dun,
it starts.
just know it's
it
time.
starts.
Yeah,
It's kind of like it's kind of like the modern day rap version of Eye of the Tiger.
Exactly.
Well
You
said.
know?
Well said,
That's it. Exactly. And it's like, I feel like anyone persevering, like whether it's, you know, you do your podcast, you know, you're searching out, you're trying to venture in your business, you're gonna face walls and trials and tribulations and struggles, and you have to be okay and mentally comfortable and satisfied starting at a point where it's low. Like I said in the beginning of my career, all what's happening around me was just literally a thought that God put into my mind based off of the boxing scenario in my city, based off of how boxers are when they're supposed to start and how their career is supposed to go. I was never even supposed to be here. This is one of the things too that makes me so hungry and so satisfied, because when I get into that fight with Keyshawn, the Austin or Del Santos, when I get into that fight, it's like, yo, I'm not even so. It's like when I'm looking at like a movie, it's like, yo, it's like for me to be here, it's because I'm gonna win. You know what I'm saying?
Destiny. Yeah.
That's how I feel, and maybe all fighters could feel like that, but that's how I truly feel. When I'm not here saying today I'll be homeboy and today I'll be homeboy, but any fighter that I do face,
when it's
right?
time, when time
every
comes,
fighter that I do face, like every fight that I've been in, and I'll test to this because I'll tell you what happened to me in one fight where God has always told me what to do or prepared me in a way to win the fight in the way that I needed. Not saying that it wasn't hard, and I'll say this because when I prepare 100% in according to what God tells me to do, I feel nervous, but I'm always ready. But I had one fight in Panama when I won my first minor title, like a Fed Bowl title, a Latin title. The camp was weird and we were just having a little bit of problems, and I felt only 80%. So even though I knew that I felt like I could beat him based off of like, okay, like Chann, based off how I boxed, I should be able to beat him. But when I stood in front of him in the face-off, my legs were shaking because I knew there was things that I didn't do
in the camp.
So I didn't feel comfortable.
There was doubt. There's too much doubt.
It was too much. There was too much doubt. It's like I knew it, but it wasn't secure in my mind.
Yeah.
And the mental, and of course, the mental is a big part. The mental's huge.
A really big part.
It's huge.
I ended up stopping him, but
I feel like too, though. I mean, part of manhood is just like, I know neither one of y'all has lost, and I hope you never do. But I feel
overcoming it. Yes, overcoming.
Right.
Exactly. I always used to say when I was going through my trial and tribulations, and this is why, like, it's not that I haven't lost. To me, I would say you learn now or you lose later. That's how I consider taking an L means, you know?
Yeah.
And then when I was going through everything that I was going through in boxing, especially like, you know, fighting once a year, and then when I would take that fight once a year, I would still get the knockout. My assessment and my what I thought about boxing, when I said to me, ultimately, boxing, yes, it's nice to win and you know, to get the money, all these things, it's nice. But when you're speaking about the sport of boxing, you're talking about being able to overcome adversity.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what boxing means to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I know guys that didn't even get as far as I got to, but just because they started boxing, they opened up gyms, their lives changed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's like
ex fighters who flourished just what boxing did for them.
And so
at the end of the day, it's like
you have to continue to know how to push forward.
Yeah.
And I feel like boxing is the closest thing that you could do in life that is very close to life. You know what I'm saying? So
now, how active would you like to be? Now you've got the fight coming up. And Trevor, you know, do you want to get how many more fights would you like to get? I know we're 2/3 of the way through 2024 here.
I fought 4 times this year already, so I feel like if I can get 1 or more, 2 more in, I would love it. And then I would feel like if I can just get back and just chill with like the family a bit, you know, and relax a little bit. I would love to get 2 more. It doesn't seem like I'm gonna really be fighting on the same card my brother, or even the position he's at, he's not gonna be fighting as much as me. So if I could do 2, it'd probably be like December and maybe October.
Okay.
Yeah, or if not, just end of December, right before Christmas, and just take Christmas off and New Year's off, and then get back
And then what about the ceiling for you guys as far as like changing weight divisions? I mean, is 135 home, or will you guys eventually explore other weight classes?
I'll explore because, like I said, like once I win this world title, and then I fight, like I said, any of those big names, and then boom, I can respectfully get my shot at Tang, and then obviously win that fight, and now being in the position of champions, like I would definitely want to take a fight. I would want to fight a champion at 135. You know, like to try to unify a belt, or even give the number one guy his shot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I always felt like I said to myself, I'd always be true to that. When I become champion, I will give the number one guy his shot as well too. When I'm in that position, to show that it's like that's what we got to be doing, so boxing could rotate and prove that you're the champion truthfully in your sanctioning body. Yeah. And then after that, if I could fight a champion at 140, then I would do it. You know what I mean? If I could fight a champion at 140, and if I could fight, 147 for me, I feel like is a little bit big because I'm already pretty much grown to my full size.
Yeah.
But if I could still fight the right fight at 147, let's say there's a champion at 147 and it's like, yo, this fight looks like physically it makes sense, like it's not too far. Okay, then I'll take it, and then we can see what's what, and then probably pack it up after that.
Well, do us a favor, man. When you eventually do knock out Floyd Schofield, just whisper in his ear, you know what? You should have done Off the Couch Boxing podcast.
Trust me when I say one thing boxing has lost, right? And I feel like some of us underdogs are fighting to bring it back, is a people's champion.
Yeah.
Yes.
I promise you. If you look at those old school commentaries, if you look at those old school, they got big because they followed the journey of careers of fighters who at the beginning they weren't much, and they grew, they went up with them.
Mm-hmm.
So
they grinded.
They grinded. The same way you guys are giving me interviews now. It's I truly respect it and honor it. And when I get this WBA gold world title, we can do another interview. And then when I knock out Schofield, we can do another interview. And
we'll always have you guys. We love you guys. You know that, man. You guys are friends of the show, man. Yeah, without a doubt, man. We love both of you guys, man.
I gotta say though, because to touch on that point, man, the way his father came at us and was like, "Oh, you guys aren't big enough," or "My son."
Crazy. Who is he? Yo, realistically, who is he? If I left America, and probably even in America, some states don't even know who his kid is. If I left the country and I said Floyd Schofield, we know who he is. So it's like,
exactly.
What have you done to say to?
And
anyone?
I kind of ascribe to the fact that the old credo was always any publicity is good publicity. So
exactly.
Even if 100 people saw the interview, and by podcast standards that's not a lot, but if he gained 100 new fans, is that a bad thing?
Exactly, because 100 new fans. That's the 100 new pay-per-views. Now, how much is that?
Right.
So, I gotta look at it like this. If you put 100 people in a bedroom,
it's a lot.
Gonna be jumping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
And back to what my brother was saying when I walked in, how he was saying that he lived his life like we grew up, like, and this is one of the things that helped me become a people's person, because when I was younger, like I'm gonna speak on just I'm gonna make 2 points on this same topic. It was that when I was younger, one of the reasons what made me want to become, like, let's say famous or big, is because when I used to see the problems in the world, I felt like, why aren't none of the famous people who have power and money doing anything about this? Like, they actually could. So I said to myself, I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna get there and do it, and never forget about the people who I started with, or people who are low, or anything like that,
Yeah,
and then when I was working, and this is one of the great traits that I learned when I was working. So there was a dishwasher at my restaurant, an old man, and I always felt like I respected him, right? But I was truly humbled because I felt like I respected him. And then one day there was like a piece of like poop outside of the toilet. Not a lot, but you could probably just clean it with the mop. And then when my boss told me to clean it up, I quickly said to her, tell the dishwasher to do it. And then she's like, no, you're doing it. So I argued back and forth with her a little bit, nothing crazy. And then I ended up doing it. But while I was doing it, I was completely humbled, because I said to myself, I said, bro, you laugh in this dishwasher's face. And talk nice to him like he's your friend every day. But when something was done, when a job that you felt like was beneath you to be done, you said, let him do it.
Right.
Because it was beneath you. So then right there and then I learned that there is no job beneath me. You know what I'm saying?
That's huge.
Of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And that's what makes me, like I said, the type of champion, as a world champion I'm gonna do the shitty job. As
Right.
a world champion, I'm gonna do the thing amongst the people. As a world champion, so it's like there's no such thing as too good. Okay, during training camp, me and my brother, we always like work with each other. Like, hey, if he's fighting, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna hold his bags because I want.
Yeah, if it's his camp,
if it's this specific time, you know what I'm saying? I'll
it-
favor him
his
in certain
priority.
ways.
But if it's me, he'll
But
take
just
care of me.
I'm talking about a daily in a daily living, how I'm gonna live, the type of champ I'm gonna be. I can't say I'll never, maybe not. I'll do my best to sign every picture, to take every picture. I'll do my best to do all of these things. You know what I mean? And never be too big for someone.
Or never be too big for him, because to me that's just crazy. Like,
Yeah.
what have you done? Who are you to say that? You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna judge, right? Let's say
What's
professions.
his dad's name, matter of fact?
Let's say you're gonna judge professions. He's exactly in the same position you guys are in your podcast career. He's not. Who is he? You know, you guys on the same level. For him to say, "Oh, you're not big enough," he wants to get interviewed by ESPN? Like, what is he talking about?
Right,
You know what I'm
and it kind of made us feel like you know, it seems like your priorities and you know, are not in the right place, because it just sounds like clout chasing. You don't really care about where you are in boxing. You're taking the social media road and like, my son's got X amount of followers, and they're like, we need somebody that's going to put him on a podcast.
Actually, what I'm going to say,
subscribers.
Maybe in Schofield's defense, maybe because his dad spoke to you guys, right?
Yeah.
So maybe in Schofield's defense, it probably even get past his dad, because even in every interview you see, even when Lucas Body did an interview with his dad just won't shut the fuck up. Like, his dad be fighting. So it's like, the truth is, who knows? Maybe Schofield would do it. I don't know. So
Schofield does whatever his dad does, so his punishment is gonna come by the mouth, the words of his father at the end.
Right.
Also, the biggest thing that struck home to me, boys, was, you know, his dad was like, "Oh, Golden Boy want to prove it." So what you're telling me is,
that makes no sense.
Deciding what you're doing.
Right. So you got to run it by the powerhouse machine to accept the link and come on and have a conversation with two men. You know what I mean? Like, you got to go to Golden Boy's management team.
Chooses who he can and cannot talk to. That's
bullshit.
He's a fucking idiot.
I can't believe Oscar De La Hoya and his team is sitting anywhere giving a shit about if he's talking to somebody with 5,000 subscribers or 5 million subscribers.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Hoya is blowing lines off of hookers' teddies. He don't.
Yeah, Oscar doesn't care. But listen, man.
You guys.
Yeah, of course, we always appreciate having you on, man. Best of luck in your fight coming up, man. Best of luck whatever you do the rest of the year, Trevor, man. You know you guys are always welcome on here, man. We love having you guys on. When you get that strap, I know you'll be on here, man, and keeping it real with us.
1,000%.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys, man. This has been a lot of fun, man. Thanks for doing it, as always, man.
Hey, before we let you go, I gotta say, forget Chann for a minute. We gotta get Trevor in the mix.
Yeah, I know.
Just now.
I know, man. We gotta get Trevor we gotta get Trevor in those rankings. We gotta get Trevor a nickname. We got big stuff we gotta do with Trevor.
Yeah. After this window, too, when I get it, like he's gonna follow suit, because you can't look at me without looking at my brother, especially with this belt that I'm gonna get. It's gonna draw a lot of attention.
It's like, even though he won it for him, it's still kind of for both of us, you know.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you guys, man. As always, man. Great talking to you. As always, stay in touch, and we'll be doing it again real soon, guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you, boys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
You too.
Yep. There they are, man. The Thonson boys doing big things, man, out of Canada, man. Canada, stand up, represent. You got Steve Claggett, you got Ryan Rizicki, you got the Thonsons, you got Arter Beater. BF calls Canada home. Badasses, badasses are all up north.
Don't forget about Wilkins Mateo, because he's doing fire right now.
Wilkins, yeah. I mean, Matthew Germain, who we've had on here. Yeah, I mean, Canada always shows off the couch boxing a lot of love, man. If you don't know, man, Chann and Trevor are both in the 135-pound division. We spoke about that division quite a bit, so obviously people can tell that they fight there, man. Chann is 16-0, 13 knockouts. Trevor 12-0, 10 knockouts. But Chann currently the WBA number 3 ranked, only has Jesus Christ, Schofield, Zepeda, and Tank in front of him. I mean, Tank's the champion, obviously.
I gotta say, man, I love them boys.
They're the best. They are the best, man. They are the best, man. And great attitudes, infectious smiles. You know, they just understand like what the sport is all about, man, and how to carry yourself, you know what I mean, as an ambassador of the sport, you know what I mean, how to do good business, how to do good interviews, man, you know what I mean, how to let the fans like see the lighter side of you, but still be all serious and take care of business in the ring, man, you know what I mean? But those are great representations of where the future of boxing is going right there, man. Chann the Man Thonson and Trevor, who we will soon get a nickname for, Thonson. I had a couple to bounce off of, man, but, you know, I didn't really want to go there yet, man. But if he does watch this back, I thought of Trevor the Titan. What about the Titan?
Right, or T-Rex.
I thought, yeah, T-Rex is on my list. I thought about Trevor the Tornado.
Yeah.
I do like T-Pain. I also like this one, Trevor Top Dog Thonson.
Ooh, I like that one too.
And of course, dog would be DAWG.
Yeah.
And then of course you could always go our old buddy Witherspoon, man. You could always go, terrible Trevor Thonson.
Right.
You know? But I'm particularly fond of Titan, Tornado. I really love Top Dog. If T-Pain didn't have T-Pain, man, that would be the one. That would be the one right there. Trevor T-Pain Thonson.
Right.
That just rolls off the tongue. Great alliteration, man. I mean, Chann's got a no-brainer, man, because, man rhymes with Chann. I mean, why wouldn't you call yourself the man if your name rhymes with it,
Right.
Chann the Man Thonson. I mean, come on, man. I mean, you got gold right there, man. Trevor's in a little bit more of a tougher situation, man, because not much rhymes with Trevor. But I feel like, but I feel like both of those guys are on the cusp of greatness. Again, I see 2025 being yet another big year, and we've had guys come on here time and time again and tell us it's going to be. For Trevor, the time is, for Chann, the time is extremely close. And Trevor's not that far off, man, but Chann is right there knocking at the door right there, man. He's going to probably be, he's going to win this fight at the end of the month here. He's probably going to be Tank's WBA mandatory here extremely soon.
Yeah, and I was actually going to say, but we got off the topic of it, so I wasn't going to bring it back. But, Tank's that kind of guy who he only fights you if you're coming off a loss or a win where you didn't look that good.
Mark my words, yeah. Mark my words. As much as Chann wants that fight, man, and I don't mean to break his heart. I know he'll watch this interview back, man, but I don't think Tank ever takes a fight with Chann the Man Thonson.
No, because
I'm not saying that because Chann doesn't deserve it, man. But Chann is in the prime of his career right now, man. He's undefeated, man. Stylistically, man, he could be a real huge nightmare for Tank, man. And I just don't think Tank takes that kind of risk, as evidenced by the fact that, ironically, his team is pissed off about Loma pulling out of this fight when Loma really wanted this fight about 5 years ago, and Tank's team, it was just crickets,
Unless Chann, not to discredit him or disparage him in any way, but unless he was to fight like a William Zepeda or
Shakur, and he beats these guys, yeah,
and look bad, look beatable, then Tank would fight him.
Yeah, and so far, man, Chann has looked anything but beatable. I mean, he's 16-0, 13 knockouts, even though he says he's not really a knockout artist, and Trevor's the more heavy-handed one, man. Chann's putting him in the dirt, too, though, man, every single time almost. You know what I mean? 13 knockouts out of 16 wins, someone is going to label you a knockout artist. The same with Trevor, 12 wins and 10 knockouts. Nobody's going to want to go near those boys, man, because they're young, they're hungry, they're dangerous, man, and as Chann alluded to, man, because they're up in Canada and they haven't become household names. See, that's another thing, too. A lot of it is name recognition, your social media profile, all that bullshit that shouldn't matter in boxing. You know what I mean? It seems like that's what's watering boxing down is it does matter. How many followers, how many this. I mean, look, for case in point, man, like we couldn't even score an interview with certain people, man, who will remain nameless. We touched on in the episode.
Nameless because they've already been fucking named in this episode, and I'll say again because I'm the young motherfucker on this shit. Fuck you and fuck your dad. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. Like to try to run us down and say, man, that we don't have enough clout and we're not grinding hard enough when we really are grinding, man. Like, for people that don't know, this podcast, the boxing portion of it, is just hitting a year now in existence, and we pretty much have averaged, it's not staggering, but we've averaged about a new subscriber per day. You know what I mean? And again, we're in a niche market where just boxing fans are looking for us. If we were doing something that appealed to a lot of different facets of mainstream, mainstream media and a lot of different facets of society, but we're just doing boxing right here. And I mean, to say that we don't deserve an interview when you could look back at the almost 150 episodes that we've done and see that legends have granted us interviews, guys that have accomplished more than some of these young guys will ever accomplish. I mean, it's sad.
And whatever, man. Fuck all those guys. Whoever don't want to come on this podcast, suck my dick. And I'll say right now, if you are tapped in and you are watching, like and subscribe. hit the notification bell. Find us on Facebook. Add us on there because we always talking about boxing. That's what we do. And with that being said, man, shout out Gary Busey, who needs to come on this podcast because I go 15 seconds with anything.
And shout out to Trevor Thonson and Chann the Man Thonson, man. 2 undefeated 135-pounders, man, that are climbing the ranks extremely fast, man. Nobody's looking for smoke with these boys, man. But regardless of whether you're looking for it or not, the 135-pound division is on notice, man. And dudes are going to have to start facing them at some point, dude. They're not going nowhere, man. They're not going nowhere. They're friends of the show, man. We've had them on before individually. Great to have them on together, man. We love them, man. We support them, man. Best of luck. August 24th, Chann the Man will be in action going for a WBA gold title, which is going to elevate him even that much more, but he's knocking at the door right now, man. So best of luck to those boys going forward, man. We will always have those guys back on. We love them immensely, man, and they are true friends of the show, man. So with that being said, stay tapped in, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And if you want to be a champion, you got to roll with the champs.